This is our first class. I welcome all of you to this class. And in this class, now I will be simply discussing about few important course-related things. Okay. And as far as the name of the course is concerned, so this is our, I can say here, this is uh, lecture one. This is lecture number one. And this lecture number one is about introduction. Today we'll be introducing, it's about introduction. Okay. The name of the course is mechanics of materials. This is the name of the course, and we say mechanics of the materials one because in the university setup, mechanics of materials is divided into two branches: mechanics of material one and mechanics of materials two, mom one and mom two. As far as this course is concerned, this course is having prerequisites. Okay, some things that we expect you may be knowing, that is the prerequisites of the course. Prerequisites are, you must have a good understanding of fundamentals of mechanics. You must have a good understanding of fundamentals of mechanics. Fundamentals of mechanics is the prerequisite. You should have a good understanding of fundamentals of mechanics. Like the student should be able to draw the free body diagram. The student should be able to draw the free body diagram. Okay, that's one. The student should have the concept of force as a vector. They should be able to resolve the force, resolve the force into components. Okay, these are two important things that the student should be knowing, particularly in mechanics of materials one. The student should have a good knowledge of the what we call as good understanding of the free body diagram and the resolution of the forces. These are just the two prerequisites of this mechanics of materials. And as far as this course is concerned, first of all, let me talk about the books. Okay, in order to talk about the books that we will be referring to in this course, let me simply introduce you to the books. Okay, as far as the books are concerned, let me share the book with you. And the book that we'll be following in this course is this, The Mechanics of Materials, 9th edition. And the author of the book is the same author whose fundamentals of mechanics, statics, and dynamics you have studied in the previous class. That is Fundamental Mechanics of Materials. This is the book that we will be following in this course. And the author of the book is again R.C. Hibala. We'll be following this book, and I can say that this is your textbook in this course. As far as this book is concerned, the Fundamentals of Mechanics book is concerned, this is the textbook for this course. We'll be following this book. Yeah, we'll be referring to many books for making the lecture notes, but simply you have to follow this book in your entire course. Okay. Now, as far as this book is concerned, we have to go through many of the chapters of this book. And let me introduce you few chapters and brief overview what we have to do. We'll be starting with the concept of stress. That's very, very important. That's from where the mechanics of material begins. Okay, the chapter one is about the stress. So first of all, we'll be beginning with the stress. This will be our chapter number one. We'll be starting with. As far as this chapter is concerned, this stress is concerned, this chapter number one is concerned. In this chapter of stress, we'll be talking about, first of all, drawing the free body diagrams of bodies. Okay, and then giving the definition of the stress, and then calculating the stress in different machine elements subject to different types of loads. So it all begins with the definition of the stress. Then after defining the concept of stress, we will have to take the second chapter, and our second chapter will be the concept of strain. Okay, again a very, very important term, again a very, very important concept we have to discuss. That will will be about strain. In fact, stress and strain are related. Many of the books have clubbed them together as a single chapter, but this book has a beauty of first consolidating on the basic things, that is stress, and then going to the concepts of strain. That's how we'll be going as well. After after evaluating, after consolidating on the concepts of stress and strain, we'll be talking about the mechanical properties of the materials. Few tests that we'll be conducting, we'll be talking about the tensile test, we'll be talking about the torsion, the tensile test, yeah, that's very important, and the compression test. Okay, the torsion test, the compression test, as well as the shear test, they will be part of our chapter 3, wherein they will be the part of this chapter. Okay, wherein we'll be mainly talking about the concepts of the mechanical properties of the materials. Okay, we'll be talking about the Young's modulus of elasticity, the shear modulus, the bulk modulus, modulus of rigidity, the Poisson's ratio. Okay, the concept of stress and strain in the form of stress strain diagram for brittle materials, for tensile, for what we call as a ductile materials. That they will be the concepts we'll be discussing in chapter number 3. Okay, and from stress strain diagrams, we will have to look how we calculate, how we obtain the properties of the materials. So as far as the chapter number 3 is concerned, this is very, very important chapter. So the the trajectory of our flight will be starting with the concepts of stress. We'll be starting with the concepts of that. We'll be going into the strain. After understanding the concepts of strain, we'll be going into the mechanical properties of the materials, using the stress strain diagram, using the concepts of both the stress as well as the strain. Okay, this is the third chapter, and after understanding the chapter number 3, we have to go to the chapter number 4. And as far as the chapter number 4 is concerned, the chapter number 4 talks about the axial load. You can say that your chapter number 4 is the application of your 3 chapters. Your chapter 1 will talk about the stress, your chapter 2 will talk about the strain, your chapter 3 will talk about the mechanical properties of the materials, and the utilization or the usage of the application of all these 3 chapters will come in the chapter number 4, that is the axial load. Okay, in axial load, we will be talking about the machine elements which are subjected to different types of loads. Okay, calculation of stress generated in them, calculation of strain generated in them. Okay, and the classification of machine elements into statically determinate and statically indeterminate members. Okay, the thermal stresses, the concept of thermal stresses will be there, and many other things will come up as far as the chapter 4 is concerned. So as far as the first 4 chapters are concerned, they are very, very important basic chapters, fundamentally easy chapters, which are dependent on one another. So from the concept of stress, we'll be going to the strain, to the mechanical properties of materials, and finally to the axial load. Okay, so this will be our journey number 1. So from here, as we complete the 4 chapters of this book, we'll be completing our first fundamental journey. Then we have to go to the concepts of torsion. Okay, this is also a very, very important chapter. As far as the torsion is concerned, one more way of subjecting a machine element to load, because in the first 4 chapters, we'll be subjecting a machine element mainly to a tensile or a compressive load. But in chapter 5, we'll be changing the nature of the load. Now, the load acting on the machine element will not only be the tensile or the compressive load. Now, the load will be the torsional load as well. And understanding the type of deformation a torsional load can cause in the machine element. Okay, understanding the angle of twist, understanding the torsional formula, understanding the deformation of the machine elements under torsion. Okay, and the failure of the machine elements under torsion. So this chapter number 5 is a completely different chapter from the first 4 chapters. Okay, in the sense that it has a different type of load is acting on the machine element. Okay, then as we go to the chapter number 5, we have to talk about the chapter number 6. Yes, chapter number 6 is about bending. We'll be talking about the structural elements called beams, and in beams we'll be understanding the shear force and the bending moment diagrams, the the normal stresses and the shear stresses which are created in the beams. Okay, that will be that will be in chapter number 6. We can say, as far as chapter 6 is concerned, it is the application of the first four chapters to the machine elements or the structural components, which are known as the beams. Okay, so this is a very important chapter as far as your gate exams or IES examinations are concerned. We'll be talking about it. Chapter 6 and chapter 7, this is actually a single chapter. Okay, in chapter 6 you'll be talking about the normal stresses in the beams, and in chapter 7 we'll be talking about the shear stresses in the beams. Though both the chapters are actually, it is clubbed in most of the books, this is a single chapter, but here the author has made the life of the students easy by dividing it into two, first consolidating on the normal stresses, then talking about the shear stresses, okay, in the beams. And then the chapter number 8, it does talk about the combined loadings. I think the chapter number 8 is not part of your syllabus, so we will not be studying it. It's part of mechanics of materials too. And chapter number 9 and chapter number 10. These are very important two chapters. It talks about the stress calculation and the stress calculations on different planes. Okay, so here we'll be understanding the concept of transformation equations, the concept of Mohr circle, the concept of principal stresses, principal strains, the concept of maximum shear stress, on and so forth, will be the part of the chapter number 9 and chapter number 10. So these two chapters are very important, a bit advanced as far as the as far as the basic chapters. As far as the chapter number 7, up to chapter number 7, you are talking about the unidirectional stress and unidirectional strain. But in chapter number 9 and 10, we'll be talking about the bidirectional stress and the bidirectional strain. And in fact, we may be talking about the three-dimensional state of stress and the three-dimensional state of strain. This is what we have to do in this course. So in this course, you have chapter 10 except one. So you have 9 chapters in this course from this book. So I will be making this book as your textbook, and certainly uh, many books will be used in making up the lecture notes. That's fine. But as far as the fundamental book is concerned, that will be starting in this chapter, that will be starting in this what we call as in this course will be Mechanics of Materials 1 by R.C. Hibla. This is the syllabus outweigh. This is what we will be doing. Okay, and definitely after completing this much of the contents in the syllabus of up to our chapter number 10, the main idea is to make student aware of the different types of loads to which the machine elements are subjected. The student should be able to draw the free body diagrams to calculate the maximum stresses that are induced in the machine element. And in fact, the student should also be able to calculate or to understand when this machine element is going to fail. That all will be taught to you in all these 10 chapters. In fact, I can say that as far as these 10 chapters are concerned, these 10 chapters definitely consolidate about around the failure of the machine elements. Okay, how the machine elements fail, and how as you the students of the mechanical engineering, you can take care of the failure of the machine element. You can analyze the machine element. That is the theory, or we can say that's the philosophy behind these 10 chapters. That's it. This is what we will be doing in this course, and from the next class we'll be starting right away from chapter number 1, that is the concept of stress.